doing fajitas. And you know, I love fajitas because they're my answer to healthy Mexican food. I love Mexican food, but sometimes it's not all that great for you. A lot of deep fried stuff. So I, crave Mexican food probably almost once a week. And the way I figured out that I can eat my Mexican food and feel good about it is do fajitas. So we've probably done chicken fajitas or steak fajitas. Today I thought we'd change things up and do pork fajitas. Every time I do pork or pork tenderloin, my family says, "I love this, Mom. Why don't we have this more often?" So this is a recipe for pork fajitas with a great marinade, but you could use the exact same recipe with chicken, steak, or even shrimp. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my fajitas going. And they've been marinating overnight, which really gets that flavor in there. And then I'll show you how to actually make the marinade. So a little bit of oil into your skillet. And if you want to be doing some grilling, you could actually do the same recipe in one of those grill pans that, they basically are those pans that can go on the grill, and they've got little holes in them. So, but the holes aren't big enough for the things to fall through, just enough for that grill flavor to get in there. So that's another great way that you can do those. You can pick up one of those grill pans. If I'm doing this inside though, I want the pan to be smoking hot before I put the pork in. We just took a pork tenderloin, sliced it into thin strips. A trick to doing that is throw that pork tenderloin into the freezer like 15 minutes while you're, checking your email or doing a load of laundry. Take it out of the freezer, and it's real easy to slice up that way. And then we made this great marinade, which, hang with me, I'm going to get to the marinade recipe in just a minute, but I want to get this pork into the skillet, and it smells amazing. This is the sound you want to hear, or if you're doing this on the grill, you want a nice hot grill. If you don't hear that sound, hang out and wait a minute before you put the pork into the pan, because we want to get this nice and seared, some nice brown color. And color is flavor. So I really prefer to do this in a stainless pan rather than a non-stick. And you notice how I'm spreading out the pieces of pork. I'm not overcrowding the pan, so you may want to do this if you don't have a big enough pan. You can do this in batches. How good does this smell, Ann? Yum. I know, total yum. So sometimes when I'm making dinner and I've got a little extra time, I'll go ahead and make dinner for the next night too, if you know what I'm talking about. I'll go ahead and slice up my pork and get it in a marinade and let it hang out 24 hours in the fridge. And then I come home from work after a really long day that I might not have as much time, and dinner is halfway done. But it is one of those things that you can throw together, this marinade, in the morning before you head out for work, and then have it in the fridge all day long, and it'll still be really full of flavor. You really can, in a pinch, even do this after work quick and just do a quick marinade. There's so much flavor in this marinade. I love it though when you do have 8 or 24 hours to let the pork hang out in this, or the chicken or the steak. Seafood, if you're going to do this with shrimp, really only needs about 20 to 30 minutes in the marinade. Marinade will actually cook your seafood because of the acid and some of the other ingredients in the marinade. So you don't want to marinate seafood longer than about 20-30 minutes. Okay, let's get to the marinade. We're going to start with some fresh lime juice, and we just pulled these out of the fridge, and they're rock hard, so I want to get the lime in the microwave for about 15-20 seconds. That's going to get those juices flowing, and it's just going to be a whole lot easier to juice the lime. How are you today, Ann? I got so busy talking and excited about the recipe, I failed to say hello. Hello. Well, hello back. Okay, already this is softened up right here. And just press on it on the cutting board. And we're going to juice that fresh lime. I think we all get stuck in a recipe rut. It happens to me all the time. And that's why I'm always trying to come up with new, different recipes. Fajitas is one of my favorites. It's something you'll pay, almost 16, 17, 20 bucks per person out at a restaurant for fajitas. My goodness gracious, save some dough and make them at home. Way cheaper, and they're really easy and colorful, and you will totally look like a rock star if you make these, I promise. Okay, so we're just gonna, ooh, perfect. Give that pork a quick flip. You don't need to cook pork forever and a day like you used to when I was growing up. The key to really nice, tender, flavorful, juicy pork, marinate it. Don't overcook it. And I love to do some sort of a sauce with the pork. In this case, you know, we've got the marinade, and we're going to do some fresh salsa. And pork just tends to be so lean that it tends to be a little dried out after you cook it. So internal temperature for pork these days, 145, 145. So if you're grilling it, use one of those instant read meat thermometers. And once it hits 145, get it off the grill, let it rest, and then carve it up or serve it at 145. You don't need to overcook it. Okay, fresh garlic. Or, you know, in a pinch, just use the jarred garlic in your refrigerator. This is a marinade, so jarred garlic will work just fine. Lime juice, garlic, a little fresh cilantro, which again, I happen to love. If you don't like it, you can leave it out. Some people just don't do cilantro at all. Until that pork is done, so I want to get that pork over to a plate and start doing my veggies. So I'm going to do a little more olive oil in the skillet, and it's going in for a piece of that. Did you see her fingers? I know. It smells so good. All right, Ann, go for it. Go ahead, have a piece. All right, so a little more olive oil into the skillet, and I'm going to add my fajita veggies. So this is a great way to get those kiddos to eat some more veggies. I'm using red pepper, yellow pepper. You could use green pepper. You know, I like to use the different peppers. They're really colorful, really pretty, and they're very, very good for you. So just whatever you have. And some red onion, but yellow onion works great too. So that's why fajitas are really so healthy, because they've got all these veggies, just a little bit of meat, or in this case pork, and then you know, flour or corn tortillas. So we're not deep frying anything, but they still have a ton of flavor. Cut up this red pepper, and then we'll get to the rest of that marinade. Oh yeah, big night out coming up next Wednesday. Still a few spots left, I'm told, but it's filling up quickly. We are so excited about this one. I'm going to be there, and my producer Abby, my director Greg. We are headed over to Curly's at Lambeau Field for a really fun night. The deal with these big night outs is that we go to local restaurants that you may have never been to before, and they put together an amazing menu, and this course is a 5-course meal. Each course is paired with a different cocktail, and it's all for a really great price, a steal of a deal, $50 per person. So I don't know where you're going to find a 5-course meal with cocktails for that. We're not going to leave here hungry for sure. So spinach artichoke dip we're going to start with, then we're going to do a Door County salad with toasted nuts and cheese curds and Door County cherries. Next course is a spicy cold gazpacho. Then we're going to do their barbecue sampler platter, which is a little bit of everything, served with their homemade pack and cheese and coleslaw, and dessert, warm chocolate chip cookies with a bourbon milkshake. So how good does that sound? You can give the number on the screen a call to reserve your spot, or head to our website, box11online.com. Click on the living tab, and you'll see that big box that says Big Night Out, and just click on that and you can get all the information. Okay, back to the marinade. Lime juice, cilantro, fresh garlic. We're going to add some cumin, a little bit of oregano. Oregano is not just an Italian thing. You'll find it in a lot of different Mexican recipes. Chili powder and a pinch of cayenne, or a little bit more if you want it a little more spicy than that. A little bit of olive oil. And this is optional. You don't have to do it. But I love cooking with wine and beer. And you probably have a beer around the house anyway. And this is going to just give it a little extra flavor, this recipe. And also is going to make the pork nice and tender. So we're going to do some Mexican beer. You don't have beer, you could do a little tequila in there. You could do a little bit of dry white wine. So this marinade goes over my pork. Coat it real well. I usually marinate in a Ziploc bag. Get it into the refrigerator for a few hours or all day long or up to 24 hours. Then get it out of the marinade, fry it up in the skillet or do it on the grill like we talked about. And it's fajita time. So you can warm up your flour tortillas on the grill if you like or in the microwave. Let's take a couple of these. And everybody can kind of put in their fajita what they like. Don't overcook your veggies, that's key. You want them like tender crisp is what they call it. A few strips of the pork. I'm going to do some of those veggies, which are so colorful and pretty. And then you can put on your favorite fajita fixings. I'm going to keep this nice and light. You could certainly do some cheese on here. My kids like cheese on it. Who doesn't like cheese on just about anything? But we'll keep it nice and light. Do some fresh salsa or pico de gallo. You can serve this with some fresh lime wedges. And then maybe just a little bit, we'll be a little bit naughty, a little bit of sour cream. So there you go, my pork fajitas. Recipes on the website. These are delicious. You got to try them this summer.